Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to report to you about a curious incident that happened in the German part of France, in the Elsass region and the city of Strasbourg, or Alsace and Strasbourg as the French call it. Even though the people who live there are not really, well, I think that's something for a different video. So, the headline read, témoignage, that is testimony, statement, something like that. Une étudiante strasbourgeoise agressée parce qu'elle portait une jupe. That means a university student from Strasbourg was attacked because she was wearing a skirt. So it seems like that there are people with extreme fashion opinions, with a very, very peculiar fashion style in Strasbourg. People who cannot really tolerate women wearing skirts. Maybe they are pantsuit fanatics or something like that. And they didn't like this woman wearing a skirt. So the story was as follows, and she, the attacked person, she seems to be well, she has a black eye, but she tells the story. She says that she passed by these three young men, so they were men, right, who attacked her. Remember that, they were young men. And they said, oh, look, that not so nice woman there with a skirt. And then she turned around and said, excuse me, or pardon, as these people who think that they're French are saying these days. And so what happened then? So then two of these guys were holding her, and the third one was punching her, I think, in the eye or in the face. And she also said that the worst thing about this is that there were 15 people standing around and they weren't doing anything. They were just looking, and not even one came to her and said that he wants to be a witness or something to help her in that case. And she, of course, was going to the police, making a statement, and these people are still on the loose, on the run, and nobody knows who they are. And it also doesn't help that the article doesn't really give a description of the perpetrators. So they're young men with a very, very, with a very harsh view of female fashion. Who could that be? Some young fashion designers, maybe? Some young, they are into fashion. They're designers or models or something like that, and this is why they have a very strict sense of aesthetics. I don't know. So that doesn't really help us, young men. But it gets even more confusing, because at the end of her statement, that young lady says, these guys are not men. So what is it now? Are they young men or are they not men? I'm really, really confused now. Why can't she just say who these people actually are? Interesting. And the other thing is also that the French state has now given out a statement. They have responded to that, and they said, this is horrible, this can't be happening. French citizens should be able to go out no matter what they wear. So they should be having the right to go out wearing whatever they want. Interesting. Isn't it France that basically told its citizens that they cannot leave the house without a mask, or at least in certain areas they have to wear a mask? So apparently you cannot just walk around in France with whatever you like. Okay, we're all used to wearing pants or maybe even skirts, but the mask thing, that really shows that when the government wants you to wear a certain thing, then they reserve the right to punish you if you don't conform. And these three men, well, it was of course criminal what they did, but it followed a similar logic, I would say. So I really have no idea who these fashion fanatics are, and the woman also has apparently no interest in helping the police finding those men. or not men, whatever. I mean, I'm really confused now. Men but not men, no idea. Because she also didn't describe them, as if she didn't see them. But there is one more detail she adds though. She said that the three men demanded of her that she lowers her gaze, that she's looking down. And that is something that's weird, because culturally speaking, that is not really what Europeans require of people. Or I've never heard that, like, you should look down on the ground. It's like I mean, if I had to guess, it would be some kind of a sign of deference or something like that. But I have never heard that. I mean, we look each other in the eye and we shake hands. This is how we in Europe greet each other. Looking down to the ground, that is nothing I know. Maybe in fashion designer circles, that is usually what they do. I don't know. So the police should really look into the fashion scene of Strasbourg. If there are some anti-skirt activists who want to bring back the pantsuit or something, I don't know. So yeah, that is interesting. So many things in there. Especially they're not really men. Yeah. Okay, so I really should make one more comment about this, and then that's it. And that is why these 15 witnesses don't come forth and they don't really say anything, and they acted as if they didn't see it, right? So the woman said they didn't do anything before it, they didn't do anything during it, and they didn't do anything after that. Yeah, well, what do you expect? Because, I mean, I don't know that woman really, but she strikes me as the young lady who would had one of these bystanders done anything. She looks like the girl who would have accused them of some sort of wrongdoing, along maybe tribal lines or something like that. She strikes me as a woman who would be want to do such a thing. So I can really understand it. I mean, if I don't know these people, I don't get involved in their fashion disputes. If I were a bystander there, I mean, 100 years ago, I think I would have done something had I lived during those times. But in today's Europe, in today's Western Europe, I should say, no. Nah, sorry. You can call me all sorts of names now if you want to, but especially if the woman looks like a young leftist or something like that, which she does, in my eyes at least, the way she talks, sorry. I'm not gonna get involved. That's your personal problem then, because we know this. We know so many stories. Some guy wants to be the white knight. He wants to do the right thing. My parents, they raised me differently. They raised me as a guy who would never be a woman, or who would always defend the women's and so on. Yeah, it turns out that afterwards, the quote-unquote victim is actually going after him and makes statements at the court against him, and actually is not very thankful, quite the opposite. And sometimes these guys are getting seriously injured, ending up in the hospital, etc. And they get no thanks, not from society, not from the damsel in distress they wanted to protect. So yeah, if it's a stranger and if they look a certain way, yeah, just walk on, don't get involved. That is what I personally have to say, but you can, of course, live your own life and make your own decisions. That's just what I would have done also in that situation. And unless these young ladies maybe start voting differently and really publicly also denounce certain ideologies, I will continue to do so, and I can totally understand it if other European men are doing the same, because women are a very powerful motivator for us to do great things, as the second verse of our German anthem clearly states, and that is true. However, women lately haven't been the best of motivators for European or German men to do great deeds. Quite the opposite. When you get backstabbed 100 times, the 101st time you maybe think twice and not do anything. And that is what these 15 people in Strasbourg have done. All right, I think I covered this affair now. And before I get completely soaked and my cell phone dies, because it's raining as you can see, I go head home now, and I leave this little bridge here to those lovely 3 ducks once more. Sorry guys that I took your spot. You can have it now again. Servus, Kameraden.